welcome. This is Electrify Expo New York. We're kicking off day one here at the EV Reality Check booth powered by GreenCars.com. If you can hear our voices, first thing to think about is that a free t-shirt awaits you. So come on by, get your free t-shirt. But also here at the EV Reality Check space in every single city for Expo, it is designed to bring people together. If you've got questions, we've got answers. We're going to be talking to a variety of people from the industry that are local to the New York area that are working on a variety of programs and solutions for electrification. So you'll just learn a lot. That's the whole point. So my name is Matt Teske, and I'm the founder and CEO of Chargeway. So if you are shopping for an EV or if you have an EV, make sure to download the Chargeway mobile app. It has every single thing you need to know about charging. It shows you what your car's plug type is. It shows you power level for chargers and your car. And we just introduced real-time pricing for public chargers throughout North America for about half the chargers out there. So make sure to give the Chargeway app a download on iOS or Android. And in every single city for Expo, I am joined by a partner in crime, a co-host, and this time in New York, it is Daniel Cohen. Daniel, how you doing, dude?
I'm good, Matt. Very excited to be here.
So we've got a lot we're going to talk about today with a lot of different people, and we're kicking off today with Benjamin Mandel, VP of Market Development at ElecCharge. So you are working on something that is, we're talking a little bit before we started, there's a lot of questions about where is infrastructure being built out, how can we deploy it quickly, and your company has developed a very unique solution to, as you mentioned to us, it's like it could be intermediate or it could be permanent for how you get fast charging deployed fast. So exactly what on earth are you doing at ElecCharge?
First, guys, thank you so much for including me on the EV Reality Check stage. Really nice to meet you guys and looking forward to this discussion. Thank you to the organizers for inviting ElecCharge to participate as well. So ElecCharge is a pretty innovative solution. The barrier we're seeing that's still inhibiting a lot of EV uptake for fleets, for individuals, is the fact that to get enough charging built out, you often need to wait months, maybe years, for the grid to provide power to that site.
Could be like a substation issue. It could be the fact that there's just no power there. All kinds of things, right?
Right. It could be a remote location, or maybe there's plenty of power available, and there are on-site constraints that limit the utility's ability to actually
red tape and whatnot. Yeah.
Red tape, soft costs, right? We hear about all of these things. So when you get that answer from your power company that it's going to take 18, 24, 36 months to bring enough power, maybe a couple of megawatts to energize a larger fleet or public charging depot site, ElecCharge can come, bring our high-speed, high-power chargers with on-site generation to energize that site in a matter of weeks rather than months or years.
Well, we talked a little bit before we even came out to New York. Well, you're from New York, so before I came out to New York, about this is the challenge. Is so many times it's about not only the visibility into charging, but where charging can be deployed quickly. So again, it's not just a stopgap issue. There's a lot of ways it's not a patch. It actually could be the ideal solution in some cases.
Right. So I mean, you're focused on EV on fleets, but could this technology be applied to private cars? Public charging for private cars?
Increasingly it can. So some of our initial kind of getting the foundation established type projects and partnerships were with private fleets that have their own, usually Teslas, maybe Kia EV9s, and they're using them for ride-hail operation, right? So they're selling EV rides into the Uber or Lyft platforms. That's been a really solid use case for us. High throughput, high utilization, good deal for everybody. Increasingly, we're working on partnerships with property owners and making our own service available so that a landlord, a parking operator, that type of partner could just bring us on site and share in some of that utilization risk with us. We'll add a credit card reader to our system to make sure that we can accept a variety of payment methods, whether that's an RFID tap or a credit card swipe. And if we feel reasonably certain that this is going to meet a need in the market, areas of New York are pockets of what we call TNC, Transportation Network Company driver population. There's a lot of drivers. There's an increasing amount of EVs circulating for TNC rides, but there isn't enough charging infrastructure. We can come in and address that gap really quickly and in many cases more affordably outcompeting the public charging network on a dollar per kilowatt hour basis.
Yeah, I think that's the most important thing to think about is for those, I mean, those who are hearing this conversation, we got into the weeds a little bit about how this works, but the reality of it is to deploy a fast charging station anywhere, frankly, around the world, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes for how you get the power to the location, and then you have to ask the question of, is this where we want the chargers, or do we want to maybe do some trenching and move the power over to here, and then put the chargers there? So then there's permitting involved for doing some extra digging, and then there's costs involved for all of that. But in what you're talking about, instead of going through all of that mess, you could physically find a location and say, we could pull up an L-Charge trailer. That trailer then could hook up to, again, access to natural gas nearby, for example, which that potentially would be the right moment and the right location to have that deployment and not have to worry about all the extra utility trenching and digging to get it done. And then you're still being able to charge, in Chargeway lingo, it's like a level 6 charger, but 180 kilowatt if one car is hooked up. That's like a 30-minute, 40-minute charge if you're going all the way to like 100% sometimes. That, to deploy that kind of we'll just drop it right in. That's really attractive to people that need a fast solution.
And then in terms of use cases, types of markets we're after, Dan mentioned public charging, but school buses is another really interesting arena.
Yeah.
And we're finding a lot of those, whether they're districts that are leasing extra space for a bus depot, maybe they have a finite term on that lease, and they're not going to be able to do really intensive
They can't
trenching.
invest into the infrastructure, but they need a solution still.
They need something that's going to be much more infrastructure light, hopefully permitting light as well. School bus contractors, right? They're scattered all about wherever they can find real estate. So we're a sort of lighter touch solution there as well.
Can I ask, why doesn't everybody who operates a charging hub then use your solution as opposed to, are there downsides to using your kind of solution as opposed to...
Don't take the bait, Benjamin. Don't take the bait. No.
Well, the way I'll spin that is we work with our partners to find the right layout. And fitting a charging trailer, if we need to bring in fuel supply, there will be another fueling trailer on site as well. That could be in compressed or liquefied form. Here in New York, liquefied fuels are non grata. So other parts of the country, though, we try to find the most energy-dense, space-efficient solution we can, but it's not going to be as low profile as just having a ground mount pedestal charger. It's simply not. So some sites may not have that space available. Others just have a comfort and a familiarity with the process of working through their utility. And if the utility is able to fulfill their need in a timely manner, then great.
No, that's a great way to frame it. And so really the reality of it is, for your solution, is it's footprint specific in the sense of what they have for physical layout, whether that's space and parking or whatever it might be. There are certain use cases by which it might be that you have an ideal solution that can be remotely deployed, but they don't have the proper space for it to actually make it happen.
Yeah, as we talk more to local partners, New York City truck or bus fleet operators, packed like sardines is a common turn of phrase, right?
Sounds right, yeah.
Space is at a premium, the real estate's at a premium, so it is challenging, not impossible by any means, but challenging to figure out how we deploy our system in a way that's going to be fluid for a fleet operation.
And again, in that sense, could you, looking at the trailer, you showed us an image of how your guys' L-Charge trailer looks and works. Could you deploy a lower power solution if it met the need, if it was a smaller footprint?
Yeah, so I think what you're getting at is basically our ability to innovate a little bit further and decouple what is currently on our charging trailer, which is the power generation and fast charging. We can basically provide modular, distributed power generation, use that to power maybe a service panel, and then whatever is downstream of that service panel, it could be 2 level 3 plugs, it could be an entire parking lot of lower power level 2 plugs.
That's a good point. It doesn't necessarily need to be, it's a fast charging solution. You can be providing enough power to charge multiple cars over longer periods of time.
How much power does each of your trailers provide?
So it's based on a 180 kilowatt generator that uses natural gas supply. So we can stack these in parallel, and if we're doing that decoupled design, we can stack them, one after the next and basically fill power gaps of up to a megawatt or 2, as long as you have the space, maybe off of the parking footprint, for those generators.
But even that, for 180 kilowatt, you could convert that into just a bunch of lower power 10 kilowatt chargers and have a fleet of vehicles that are charging slower overnight. To me, I guess maybe that's a good question. Is it that the customers you're talking to just think we got to have it fast? I mean, are you able to tell them like, hey, based on your use case and dwell time of your vehicles, you don't. We could actually deploy one of our trailers and you guys could be powering 10 cars overnight. I mean, is that a conversation you guys have had?
Yes, but a little less so. I think where there's the real rush and the time to power issue is the most binding.
Like back on the road fast.
Back on the road fast. Think Uber, Lyft, increasingly autonomous vehicle operations. I think these are the ones that are really well served by our ability to deploy quickly and operate with 98 plus uptime.
But then you're talking about buses, school buses, for example. That presumably is more of an overnight. They just need to be ready for the morning.
Yes, and that presents a unique challenge too, because school busing has very finite, distinct time windows.
They all need to be ready for the morning.
They all need to be ready, but they all go out at the same time and they all come back at the same time. So staggering charging is more of a process. So we need to make sure that whether that's powering a wider number of charge point, access points, or having a valet system where you can get your bus charged really quickly, turn it over to the next vehicle. These are just the design constraints that we need to work through.
Yeah, and the more we're talking about it out loud, it makes the competition that you have to go in and say we can deploy a fast charger quickly, like within, I guess, a timing. If someone says we want one of these systems, we've got natural gas nearby, what's the timeline for you to deploy one of your trailers?
We'll ship it cross country to this part of the country from California in probably 3 business days.
Okay.
And then it's about how quickly we can get the plumber to do a natural gas connection. So we're talking about probably 2 to 3 weeks total.
Which is awesome compared to, like you said, 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, maybe worse.
It's almost a different service at that point.
Yeah.
And does there have to be a gas line for you to work, or can you deliver gas?
There doesn't, yeah. We offer a bundled service. So in any format, our business model is charging as a service.
Okay.
So that's a set dollar per kilowatt hour price that we agree to, and then as many kilowatt hours you use in the month, at that set price is what you pay every month. We will bundle in, if natural gas is not available, we'll do the procurement, supply, and replenishment of, say, a compressed natural gas trailer, make sure that's on site, and we call that a virtual pipeline. We want to ensure continuous fuel supply, whether there's a physical or what we call this virtual pipeline.
And you can monitor that remotely, for example? Yeah. I mean, so as we're talking more about this, it strikes me that the level 2 scenario for you, like a lower powered scenario for multiple vehicles, that arguably could be met by the utility more easily, whereas the fast charger deployment is really the better business use case for you guys.
Exactly. It's kind of a question of who goes right up to the boundary and tests the limits of what the utility system can fulfill really quickly, right? And this is not an indictment on utilities. This is
a safe space, Benjamin. We can say things.
No, we're here to be a partner and a supplement to what traditional infrastructure solutions can provide to the market.
Well, but I get to that point, it is a struggle, though, for a lot of people. I mean, the utilities, they are not known for moving efficiently and quickly. They are, by nature, they are methodical. They pre-plan a lot in advance, and so a lot of things we're talking about, they've been thinking about for a long time, but it doesn't necessarily mean they can deploy quickly.
Well, where have you got where are your stations installed? Is there a particular part of the country where this kind of is most resonant or most effective?
I think I would say that the hotspots for fleet and TNC electrification, so the LA area, that's our biggest site. We have a site there with a private fleet of these kind of black Ubers for Uber, black Teslas rather, for Uber operation. We have 7 of our trailers deployed in a total of 20 ports there at one site in LA. We have a couple of sites with an operator in Texas markets, Dallas and Houston, fast expanding to other hotspots of that kind of innovative e-mobility world. So think Miami, Atlanta, Nashville. But now we have our first truck deployment here in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay. That's right. You were mentioning it's first of its kind, essentially.
We think so, yeah. Manhattan Beer and Beverage Distributors, and they have renewable natural gas powering their entire facility. We're tapping into that fuel supply to power our charging trailer. And then they're using that to support a fleet of 7 Class 8 tractors that are keeping all of the New York metro area hydrated and happy.
I like it. Like hydrated and happy.
Yeah.
That is the nicest way to say libations are available via ElCharge. So for those who are hearing this conversation, again, you're more of a B2B play. Again, you guys are working directly with companies on this. The beneficiaries of your efforts are oftentimes consumers driving for Uber or ride hail, for example. But for those who are hearing this conversation that want to learn more about ElCharge, all the things we've been discussing, what's the best way for them to find you?
So our website is always current. We're all over social media, LinkedIn, Instagram. These are good places to find ElCharge, what we're doing, our actual projects that are getting out there and helping fleets charge fast. And the other thing I just want to mention is we have begun launching with electric school buses as well, to Dan's last question, and that project is in Michigan.
Okay, so yeah, you are really nationwide already with these deployments. And I think that's going to be a big part of what people need to understand and hear, because people will hear this conversation later. It's not just about New York and where you're based here. It's about the fact that this can serve multiple different geographic areas, because as we've discussed, this use case is not unique to the Northeast, for example. It's everywhere.
I mean, we like to think we bring our own particular, range of complications to any situation in the Northeast. But
true. I mean, high density, it's that high density urban living.
High density, low efficiency.
So, and again, the website, is it just lcharge.com, L-charge? What's the URL?
Lcharge.net will get you there.
Okay.
The .net is the important piece.
There you go. Cool. And then everything on social media all the same, just LCharge?
Yes.
Cool.
Exactly.
Well, this is one of those conversations, a great way to kick things off, to showcase that what's happening behind the curtain is really important to how we make something like Expo functional as an event. Rewind 5, 6, 7 years, this event wasn't a thing. We had vehicles that were coming to market, but there was a lot of questions about infrastructure, how we would make this work for a variety of different people. And Benjamin, the work that you guys are doing at ElCharge is fundamental to that, because this is not going to be something that happens overnight. We have to have creative and innovative solutions that will allow people to electrify where it might not be normally possible. So again, congratulations on the work that you are doing. I commend anybody that's on the front lines of this space. So Dan, anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, this is all very interesting, and I think every flavor we get of how you're able to electrify transportation, we need everything. So all these innovative solutions are exactly what we need, particularly in the Northeast.
Exactly. We just got to get one of those hydration trucks to show up after hours today to hydrate those of us who've been at the expo all day.
We'll make a call. We'll see what we can do.
I like that. When you know people, things get done.